Marvellous. Chris Vince.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for allowing me to contribute to this really important debate and speak in favour of this bill. But before I do that, let me take an opportunity to thank my honourable friend, the member for Brighton, Kempdown and Peacehaven, for his excellent speech. As the member for Harlow, I live in a town full of Spurs supporters, so he's not overly popular at the moment. But my chief of staff is a fellow Seagull, so he'll be pleased to show you support. This is a really important debate to me because Harlow constituency has nearly 6,000 households in the private rented sector and suffered from the previous government's ill thought out permitted development legislation. But like many people who have spoken in this debate already, it has personal resonance for me as somebody that worked for 2 years at a homeless charity in Harlow called Streets to Homes. My role was generally to go out, sometimes into woodland, into industrial area, to find reported rough sleepers, to get them registered with our charity and help to get them off the street and into, quite often, the rented sector. And that is why I personally welcome the legislation that rejects the no-fault eviction, and I'm looking forward to voting for it later. The experience of working for a homeless charity can often be challenging, but sometimes it can be baffling as well. It's unbelievable to me that in my previous role, I found it easier to house someone with an alcohol or drug addiction than someone with a dog. And this includes guide dogs. And we have one in this chamber, or had one in this chamber earlier, emotional support dogs and assistant dogs. These are animals that help people cope and manage medical conditions. This is not the kind of barrier that people with these conditions should be facing. It's like saying we won't allow people in their house with an inhaler for their asthma. While at conference this year, I had the opportunity to visit the guide dog stall and talk to the wonderful people that support that wonderful charity. They highlight this issue to me, and I was appalled by the lack of awareness about it. These issues are faced every day by people already at a disadvantage. We should be making their journey into a home easier, not putting walls and barriers up against them. And as a dog owner myself, I'm not sure I'm going to introduce my dog to Jenny just yet. He might get a bit carried away. I would, really emphasise how important having a pet is to a family and the emotional bond that they create. Being pushed to choose between a roof over your head and your family is not a choice anyone should have to make. And a statistic for you here. I will give way to my honourable friend.
Thank you very much for giving way. Does my friend agree with me that once consent for a pet is granted, that consent needs to remain for the duration of the tenancy, and we could strengthen the bill by ensuring that that is explicit?
I thank my honourable friend for her question. Look, ultimately, I want to do what I can to support people who have pets in their home. And you're right to say that actually the anxiety of potentially being in a situation where a pet could be forced to move out of home is not one that we want people to face. As I was about to say, 62% of homeowners in the UK have a pet. And as mentioned by my honourable friend from Milton Keynes earlier, we are a nation of pet lovers. But let's be very clear, Madam Deputy Speaker, this is not about punishing landlords and never has been. This is about protecting tenants' basic rights. And there does need to be clear guidance as to what a reasonable pet ownership means, and this needs, and I'm glad that the bill recognises this. Further to this, 57,340 households were threatened with homelessness due to an end of a short-hold tenancy, an increase of 4.6% on 2022-23. People cannot be treated with such dismissal. 21% of renters live in what we refer to as non-decent homes, homes that are literally not fit for living in, and this is somehow allowed. Renters are not and should not be treated lesser than homeowners. They should be entitled to the same security in their lives as homeowners are. Thank you.
Rachel Blake.